What's up guys, Bonsai here from Chialovingbonsai, and today I will guide you on how to play Chaugnar and how to use him at his full potential. So I'll go through these key points today: abilities, strengths, weaknesses, combos, what Chaugnar can offer in a team composition, item builds, and also how to play Chaugnar. So let's start with the abilities. Passive. Every time Chaugnar uses energy surge, he calls upon the chaos energy to remove all control effects, reduce the damage taken by 10% and increase movement speed by 20% for 2 seconds. First ability, energy surge. Chaugnar unleashes a wave of energy, dealing magic damage to enemies along the path and slowing their movement speed by 50% for 2 seconds. Chaugnar's second ability, Shockwave. Chaugnar trembles and deals magic damage to all nearby enemies. Damage increased by 30% with each cast and stacks up to 2 times. Also reduce cooldown of energy surge by 1 second. Chaugnar's ultimate, Chaos Protection. Chaugnar evokes the energies of chaos to remove all control effects from nearby allies, granting them immunity to further control effects and reducing the damage they take. This buff lasts for 0.5 seconds for allies and 3 seconds for himself. This ability also reduces Shockwave's cooldown and removes Shockwave's mana cost for 6 seconds. Now that we know what Chaugnar can do, we can see he is a tank who primarily deals magic damage. Chaugnar have a very unique playstyle. He lacks in crowd control, but he makes it up with his spells, which remove crowd control. Chaugnar is very tanky as well, even if you play him as a mage, but I recommend you playing Chaugnar as a hybrid. He also have pretty good movement speed, and because your enemies can't stun you, assuming you play him correctly, they will have a hard time catching up. Chaugnar also got low cooldowns, which make him able to deal a lot of damage over time. Chaugnar's greatest weakness is he only got 1 slow, which means he can't lock down enemies and let his team do the rest. Chaugnar is also weak to high damage because you play him as a hybrid, and Chaugnar got no real escape except his movement speed. Chaugnar doesn't really have a combo, but what you want to do is save your first ability when you enter a fight. And the reason for that is you want to use your ultimate in the middle of a fight to get to the cooldown lower on your second ability, and then deal as much damage as possible. You use the first ability if you want to slow an enemy to catch them, because the first ability got a long range. Or you use the first ability here to get the damage reduction and also free from crowd control, plus some movement speed, which makes it easy to escape out of any situation. So, the question is, when should you pick Chaugnar? Chaugnar is a secondary tank and support. Chaugnar is famous for his ultimate, which remove all crowd control from his team, assuming they are in range of course. So Chaugnar is best to pick in a teamfight composition, and if you need a tank and some magic damage. You want to play Chaugnar passive in the early game, and wait for your jungler to gank, then you can start a fight. And because of Chaugnar's crowd control removing abilities, he can run straight to the backline and attack the carries, which many players won't expect you to do. Now in late game where Chaugnar shines, you want to body block your damage dealers if the enemy tries to catch them. I will make another video in the future on body blocking and why it is an effective tactic for tanks in general. But all you need to know now is to stand next to your damage dealers in case an assassin tries to engage on them. For item build, I recommend starting Phoenix tier as starting item for the sustain early to mid game. Then you can sell Phoenix tier and choose item depending on situation. I would recommend you play Holy of Holiest for more damage, or Troy's Medallion in case the enemy got a lot of magic damage. You can also play Ancestral Glory for the extra HP, and if you die you get a second chance. My first item here is Frosty's Revenge, mainly because of the passive, which actually slows the enemy each time you use a spell. And when you use your ultimate ability, your second ability will have less than a 2-second cooldown, which means you actually can lock down your enemies for a long time. It also gives you some ability power, which improves your damage, a lot of magic defense, which is great against mages, and some movement speed to make it easier for you to get into fights and out of fights. Then I usually pick the Sonic Boots, because many burst heroes actually do physical damage right now, so the passive there is great, also gives some movement speed. Then we actually have the Frost Cape. This is a great item, gives some cooldown reduction, a lot of armor, some HP, and the passive, which is really great with Chaugnar because of his low cooldowns. It makes him able to actually slow down with his spells and then also slow down with the auto attacks here. because Chaugnar really lacks any crowd control at all, so picking Frost's Revenge and Frost Cape together makes you actually able to lock down your enemies and they have no possibility to lock down you. Then I have the Gaia standards, because usually they have a lot of mages, and you can also focus down the mages here when you got magic defense. Also gives some health, some more movement speed, which is great for this hero. And we also have the passive, you actually regenerate your health, because when you play Chaugnar you actually go back and forth into the fight to avoid damage but still making damage. So having this passive, because he works really great in prolonged fights then. So this is a great item for him. Then I pick one of my favorite items, Mail of Pain here. The reason for that is it gives a lot of armor, a lot of health, and those marksmen won't actually attack you that much, because you have this passive. When playing Chaugnar you want to avoid as much damage as possible, and because the enemy have a hard time to use their crowd control on you, which means they won't use their stuns or sometimes not even focus you unless you are a direct threat or an easy kill. Use this to your advantage, because you have to be really close to do any damage. And if you play my build, you will have a lot of movement speed from Frost's Revenge and also from the Gaia standard, which help you engage and disengage. If you have watched this far into the video, I will give you a small tip that upped my game for myself when I actually played Chaugnar. You should play the talent Disrupt. The reason for that is that you're a big elephant who are hard to kill and deal a lot of damage. And your enemies can't stop you because you are crowd control removing spells. So Chaugnar is really good at diving enemies under the tower. And that's it for this video and this guide. I hope this helped you a lot. If you learned something new through this guide, I would like a thumbs up down there so I actually know. And if you have not subscribed already, please press the button down below. I will start uploading a lot more of these hero guides right now. And I will start more with the series on how to become a pro actually here in the future then. Until then guys, I will see you in the next one.
When I close my